Ideology has returned as a major factor in U.S. China relations. Concerns about Western values have emerged as a guiding component of Chinese policies toward media, culture, and education. In fact, China has defined Western values as a non-traditional threat to its national security. In an increasingly connected world, can Chinese policies succeed in limiting Western influences? That's the focus of this edition of Rewind.
The topic they will be addressing, as you know, is do Western values threaten China? The motives and methods of Xi Jinping's ideology campaign. We ask this question because the Chinese government itself has raised it repeatedly under Xi's leadership. Western values are listed as one of the non-traditional threats that will be addressed by the new National Security Commission that Xi Jinping heads. And as such, as a non-traditional threat, Western values are listed together with terrorism and sedition and separatism, so clearly serious business. We'll discuss today, this is not unprecedented, but we have seen under Xi Jinping the internet be reined in and controls in new ways. We've seen free thinkers be arrested, in some cases disappeared. We have seen new policies and pressure on universities, media, the arts and entertainment, think tanks, and NGOs. At the same time, we've seen increased use of the crime of picking quarrels and provoking trouble, 徇信滋事, a rather vague and increasingly broadly applied statute.
China has, like the Soviets, a really different approach to foreign affairs. It's not just foreign affairs ministries or State Department to State Department. Every aspect to do with foreigners, including foreign tourism, Sino-foreign personal relationships, education, information, you name it, is incorporated within the 外事系统, which is the 系统 is a supra-party-led bureaucracy which connects different policy areas under a particular topic. So you have the propaganda 系统 and you have a foreign affairs 系统, and they overlap offices. We're not shutting the door on Western influences. China doesn't want to be North Korea in that regard. They want to be getting, as they, it's the old trope, isn't it? 中学为题，西学为用, from the 1870s, that China would maintain its essence, but bring in those useful, particularly the technical things from the West. But she's also been, as a sort of an example of what I'm saying, that Xi is not meant to be driving the population towards xenophobia. Xi Jinping has lately been constantly talking up the policies of China's new Silk Road, the maritime Silk Road.
I just want to come back to maybe a core difference to me, the Western value and the Chinese value. Western value, to the certain extreme, is individual freedom and liberty at all cost. But the Chinese, not just Chinese, a lot of ancient, civilization always see individual in the context of the family, the society, and in this case, in the country. So they will sacrifice, encourage to do for greater good.
Certainly the Communist Party didn't land like a spaceship in China. It fits very well with the bureaucratic traditions and the like. But by the same token, what you describe as Western values, which is adherence to individual freedom at any cost, I think there's many different parts of the West. It's not all like America. You have many countries in the West where you have a strong state, paternalistic state, and the like. So I don't think it's right. I don't think it's necessarily right on either side.
Do you think there is a threat or a concern that China's government and party have lost touch with two important constituencies? One is the people, as in the Renmin, and the other is the intelligentsia, where Western values have really been quite internalized for quite a long time.
I'm really not. I think they've, yes, lost touch with a large part of the intelligentsia, but there's an equally large part of it which is reliant on them, and which is a faithful producer of, CCP publicity or propaganda or whatever you want to call it. And as to the contact with the people, as I say, I'm just not sure. But my sense is less than people think, because the party is so networked right down at every level of government. It's reliant on feedback mechanisms because party leaders get into trouble if their local areas blow up. so I think they're pretty well informed. Does that mean they're out of touch? Maybe it's not the same thing, but I think they're maybe more in touch than people give them credit for.
And so I look in part at this movement and the signalling that she's doing, and then the Xi images everywhere as a kind of as a PR campaign, as a campaigning for the position of Xi Jinping as the ongoing leader of China, whether it's just for 2 terms or he becomes the core leadership role. And as I said in my talk, clearly his policies are resonating with the ordinary Chinese public. They don't have to memorize them, but the fact that he's going against this just corruption all over China, as everybody who lives in China sees it in front of their eyes every day, a lot of people, ordinary people who are not beneficiaries of that, but the victims of it, they welcome that.
For more information on the Wilson Center's Kissinger Institute, visit wilsoncenter.org and search under the Programs tab.